Hi, my name is Phil Grande, philsgang.com. The 401k big lie. They tell you invest $10,000 a year for 30 years, compounded at 6% annually. You will have a grand total of $245,000 to retire. That is not true. That is not the truth. What they don't tell you is the hidden fees. There's 27 hidden fees in your 401k. When you're all done, you lose half of what you put aside for your retirement. That's right, half. And another thing, you're not allowed to do individual stocks in a mutual fund. And you're not allowed to make money when stocks go down. That's ridiculous. Would you buy a car with just forward and no reverse? Why would you ever be in a fund that you can't make money when the stock market goes down? Join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande of philsgang.com. You know, everybody, the hot stocks Apple or Google, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. What people don't understand is every stock is the same. If the institutions buy it, it goes up. If they don't, it goes down. It doesn't matter the name. That's why we use charts to identify money in, money out. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Listen to what Fisher said, the former Fed governor.
We front-loaded at the Federal Reserve an enormous rally in order to accomplish the wealth effect.
That's right. Did you hear that? They took the stock market, front-loaded it, ran at 200%, so we ended up not only with a fake stock market, but fake GDP, fake money, fake jobs, fake prices, fake everything. But we took advantage of that, and we're going to take advantage again. That's why I told my gang in May to short the market. On 5/29, that's May 29th, I'm telling you to short the stock market. And we were right, and the market went down over 11%. That's why you got to join my gang and learn how to short stocks just as much as buying them. Learn how to short with me, Phil Grande at philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Be sure to watch the Phil's Gang Show with Phil Grande, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on various devices like smartphones, tablets, your computer, and more. Get free access to the Phil's Gang Show right in your hands at home or on the go. Simply go to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com and click on the Listen Live link. And we'll see you on the charts.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. You know, it's been 7 years now since Obama ordered his Fed chairman to lower the savings rate from 5% to less than 0.25%. With the false narrative, it would spur economic growth and jobs. Everyone would have an opportunity in this economy. That's what he said. But what it spurred was a front-loading of the biggest, fake, unsustainable stock market rally of 200%. That's what it spurred. Now, most people did not participate in that rally because people got out of their 401k in 2009 and they said, just get me out. I want nothing but fixed income. And they got killed because with low interest rates, fixed incomes get murdered. You got to know what you're doing. If you're going to really retire, you got to be associated with the stock market. That's why you come to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
AMBA, and I've lost over 30K on it, but it had excellent earnings the last several quarters, and if they make the cameras and drone equipment, I don't know why it's so weak these days.
It's so weak these days because you don't pay attention to what they make. You don't care about their earnings. The problem is the institutions are pulling their money out, and that's all you need to know, and that's what we identify in the chart, and that's why I become a Phil's Gang member.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Everybody was asking me, how did I know to short forward when it was November, and it was when Aunt B was telling us everything was fine? Well, what people didn't know is Aunt B was lying to us because when she was raising the rates, machinery sales were down 5.6%, computers were down 8.7%, communication equipment sales down 21%. I took a look at our chart and I saw that institutions were pulling money out of Ford. So we said, let's short Ford. And we did that in November, on November 10th, because my charts told me there was a big sell signal, and we took advantage of it. And you know that stock Ford has now dropped 17%. That's the return my gang has now, 17%. Don't follow any of the jibber jabber from CNBC or the Fed. Follow me, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264. There is only one talk show host, Phil Grande, who delivers both social and financial talk. Not even Hannity or Rush can deliver a 1-2 punch like that. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Phil Grande is unique, the industry leader, the first talk show host ever to combine social issues and finance into winning stock market ideas. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
What do you make of the markets these days? What we're seeing, I think, in this recent rally is that investors are recognizing that the economic data for the United States are actually reasonably good.
You nuts? She's asked. This is Abby Joseph Cohen. She was asked, what do you think about this rally we're having? Oh, investors are recognizing the economy is getting better. Are you kidding? This is a short covering rally. This is not a rally because earnings. This is not a rally because we're having a good investment. You got to have investment, capital investment. Then we say, okay. Real economic growth comes from savings. From savings, you get capital investment. And we don't get that because, first of all, savings is almost at zero. Who's going to save when you have 0%? You're going to go to the bank and save? Of course not. Welcome to Phil's Gang, coast to coast around the country, off the Wall Street Radio Network. A lot to talk about today. This is crazy. When these people talk like this, I just get so grumpy. Let's listen to the whole thing.
What do you make of the markets these days? What we're seeing, I think, in this recent rally is that investors are recognizing that the economic data for the United States are actually reasonably good. We've gotten good data reports, for example, on employment. And so the internal dynamic of the U.S. domestic economy looking good. And
Whoa. Employment looks good. Jobs look good. Do you see this last job reports? 80% of the jobs are part-time. Part-time. They're all jobs in the lowest pay range. It's all service sector. See, the problem we have with these people on Wall Street, they're like Romney. They're part of that 1 percentile. See, this is why they want to see Trump lose. Because as long as these elitists like her, the 1 percentile like her, these Wall Street crooks, as long as they can control the power, control the Congress, control the legislation, they control the Federal Reserve. They make the policies. And the best policy for them is to put Main Street in the poorhouse. To make things so bad for Main Street that they have to use the excuse, we better bring interest rates down to zero. And as long as you have guys like Romney and Buffett and the rest of them, Soros, who control, they will continually get these interest rates down to zero with the story, oh, we drop rates to zero, we're going to grow jobs, we're going to grow the economy. It's been 7 years since Obama ordered his Fed chairman to lower the savings rates from 5% to near zero. The false narrative was it would spur economic growth and jobs, that everyone will have an opportunity in this economy. What a lie that is. How are you going to spur economic growth? You get economic growth from savings, good savings rates. Because if you have a good savings rate, then companies will go borrow. That's called capital investment. Companies aren't borrowing because they have they don't see any demand. And what's demand? Demand is spending. Well, how is there going to be any spending when you have the lowest participation rate since 1955, which has given us the lowest home ownership rate since 1967? It's given us the lowest wages in 20 years. As a result, the top-line sales revenues have plunged, causing a 10-year low in factory orders because there's no demand, which means spending. No spending. Manufacturing, industrial production, retail sales, household spending, disposable income, durable goods, all are falling off a cliff, all in a decline due to the lack of good, meaningful jobs. This is crazy. We have weak factory orders, weak manufacturing industrial production, the weakest in 10 years. Are you kidding? What is she talking about? They just lie to you. They just lie. See, what Obama has done by lowering our savings rate from 5% to less than 0.25%, he's been able to put in the false narrative that, by doing this, our economy is really going to grow because with interest rates this low, everybody's going to go out and spend. When everybody knows that's not true. Just because interest rates are low, you're not going to go out and spend. How many ads do you see on TV that say, come to the furniture warehouse, and you don't put anything down for a year, payments are put off for 2 years, all that nonsense. You can give people, you can take a couch that was $500 and knock it down to $100. They're not going to go and buy it unless they feel they have a good job. They're going to come every Monday morning. They're going to get up, go to work. They got a good job. They got a good pension. They got good savings. They feel good. They feel secure. Nobody feels secure. So people aren't spending. What is she talking about? Let's talk about capital goods. It's dropping capital goods. Machinery is down 5.6%. Computer sales are down 8.7%. Communication equipment is down 2.1%. 21%. Misread it. This is crazy what they're talking about. It's just absolutely crazy. Now, the elitists, the so-called Republican establishment, you take the politicians, they only represent who? They only represent the interest of the wealthy donors. So you take any of the Republicans or any of the Democrat establishment, take any of those establishment politicians, they represent one person. They represent the interest of the wealthy donors, like the Romney, the Buffett, the Soros, who put up all the money for these politicians. Look what they're doing with Rubio. They're going to try to knock Trump out if he walks into the convention with most of the delegates and Rubio has the least. They're going to do everything they can to get Rubio on the ticket and Trump off. Because, see, the establishment politicians like Rubio, they represent the interest of the donors. Like Romney, the rich, they don't represent our interest. They don't represent Main Street or the middle class. They say they do, but they don't. And even if they did, they put us aside because their priority is to take care of Romney or Buffett or Soros. They want something. They want new legislation, so their taxes are cut. You think they're going to put us in priority? No, they're going to put them in priority. They're going to be the priority, not us. See, and this is what Trump recognizes. And Trump doesn't need anything. And Trump sees how unfair it is. And that's why Trump is so popular. Because people are saying, at least we got somebody we can send to Washington that's going to look out for our interests. You think they care about this Trump University? You want to see what they did to him today at Trump University? Listen to this.
The BBB business review for this company has continually been no rating.
We'll talk about that when we get back. Just unbelievable. And we'll also take a look at some stocks, our refiners.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Welcome back to Phil's Gang Radio Show. For more information, simply go to philsgang.com. Now, here's Phil.
The U.S. has done a phenomenal job of almost, having an amazing consumer-based economy that has been able to protect itself a little bit from the downturns around the world. How long that can last, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, they protected themselves all right. They'll sell you a car and give you a 20-year loan. What are you, nuts? Welcome back to Phil's Gang. What is it with these people? They just can't tell the truth. The numbers are in. We have weak factory orders. We have weak manufacturing industrial production, the weakest in 10 years. See, but they come out and will say that. You think they're going to tell you we have the weakest manufacturing industrial production in 10 years? They're not going to tell you that. They continue to mask our terrible, plummeting growth rate by talking like this. They mask how terrible the consumer spending is. Demand. It's called demand. And when there's no demand, you don't get companies to invest. You don't get people to invest. When you don't have any savings, they're not going to invest anyways because they can't go and borrow money when there's no savings. The only people that make out are the wealthiest people, the 1 percentile, because they get the worse things get. Then these folks, the wealthy, where they have 85% of their money in the stock market, there'll be programs put in place to rally the stock market, like quantitative easing. I mean, think of that program alone. That was designed for Romney and the boys, not for Main Street. You go and you get the government to print all this money because the stock market can't go up. Why? Because there's lousy jobs. All our jobs are part-time jobs, terrible jobs. We had an increase in part-time jobs from 4.5 million to 8 million. That's historic. We now have a total of 28 million part-time. We've never had 28 million part-time jobs. So therefore, there's no demand. What's that mean? They don't spend. So when you don't spend, you don't have industrial production. And our economy gets worse and worse. So the elitists tell Congress, well, here's what we do. Let's bring interest rates down to zero. Everybody will go out and buy stuff. When all it does is give them an incredible rally in the stock market. Because by bringing the interest rates down to zero and putting quantitative easing in, they print money and they borrow, or they print $85 billion a month, and they buy all the 10-year treasuries, and then that means all the countries like the Saudis and the Chinese who buy our 10-year treasuries, they don't buy 10-year treasuries anymore. Because the yields, the interest rates go down. When the interest rates drop on the yields, they get out and they buy stocks. So companies are totally decoupled from earnings. So company stocks will go straight up, even though there's no sales. Sales can be down 20%, but their stock will go up 30%. Because through this magic of quantitative easing, you're shifting everybody from treasuries, forcing them from treasuries into the stock market. And then to make the stock market go up go up even further, they print $4 trillion to get to JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and say, here, go in and push the stock market up. Buy stocks. So Ford goes up. All these other companies go up. Their price of stock goes, but they're not selling anything more. So if a stock's at $20 and it goes to $40, they sold less product, but their stock have gone up. Here's Fisher telling you it's called front loading.
We front loaded at the Federal Reserve an enormous rally in order to accomplish a wealth effect.
Yeah, the wealth effect for who? For the 1 percentile, the small segment of the population. There it is. He got it right there. That's from Fed, from Fisher. He's admitting it. Finally, when he left the Fed, he admits it. China is a house of cards. Their stock market is going to collapse. It's getting worse. Even with their massive quantitative easing in China, their stock market is ready to collapse. Here's the problem with China. China is taking down the emerging markets, like Vietnam and all the other emerging markets, because they depend on China, and China is going down. Oil. Oil today, it fluctuated between $36.76 and $38.29. That's Goldman Sachs manipulating the price. Oil's going to go a lot lower. A lot lower. Going to go to $20. See, these jibber jabbers on CNBC, they blame oil prices for declining stock market prices. So Goldman Sachs will manipulate the price of oil from $36.76 to $38.29, try to get the stock market up. That's what they've been doing. But here's the problem. It's not oil. Oil's not the problem. The problem is we have a decline in economic growth. That's the problem, not oil. Until we see more economic growth, until we see more investment, until we see more savings so we can get investment, economic growth won't happen. So oil's going to keep going lower. It's not oil that's going down, that's pulling down economic growth. They make you think that when oil goes down, it's pulling down economic growth and pulling down the stock prices. That's not what's going on. It's the lack of economic growth that's pulling down the stock prices. Oil's going to go a lot lower. Reagan and Clinton, think about this. They gave us an economic growth of more than 4%. Compared to Obama's 1.9%. Let's say 2%. See, the reason that Reagan and Clinton doubled the amount of economic growth compared to Obama, because Reagan and Clinton understood you had to have investment growth. You had to have a lot of investment growth, and you get that from savings. So what Reagan and Clinton did is they rewarded savers. They paid good savings rate. So that stimulated borrowing for investors. Investors would borrow. But what Obama did instead, he went the opposite way. He said he punished savers. He dropped rates down to below zero in a savings account. At zero, a little bit more than zero. And then he punished them. That's a punishment. So when you have a zero rate in savings, you're not going to get anybody to borrow money to invest in machinery or anything else. What are you, nuts? This only benefits the 1 percentile, and that's why they don't want Trump involved, because he'll destroy it for them.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande.
Are you ready to make profits in the stock market? Why not check out philsgang.com or give us a call, 877-600-4264. Now, here's Phil.
China's economy grew 6.9% last year, the slowest in more than 2 decades. Factories are shedding jobs and migrant workers are desperate to find employment. The government said on Monday that 1.8 million in the coal and steel industries are expected to be laid off, and all eyes are on the country's ability to manage unemployment. Massive layoffs could trigger widespread social unrest, a situation the government is more than keen to avoid.
And there you have it. China. Welcome back to Phil's Gang. That's what I told you. This is a joke. China's a house of cards. Nobody's telling you the truth. And China's going to take down all the emerging markets. And it's going to take down our market. Everybody's always been dependent on China. As I told you, oil, that's a joke. They keep saying, well, it's oil. If oil goes down, then our stock market goes down. Oil goes up, our stock market goes up. So stupid. I never heard anything so stupid. But they do a lot of stupid things in Wall Street to make money for the 1 percentile. As I said, Reagan and Clinton had a 4% GDP. Their economies grew 4%. Our economy's growing 1.9%, say 2%. So they grew it twice as much as Obama. Why? Because there was a difference in philosophy. Reagan and Clinton said, hey, the only way you grow an economy is you cut taxes, you cut regulations. Obama said, oh, no, we're going to raise capital gains. We're going to raise taxes. We're going to push all kinds of regulations on small businesses. Here, listen to this. I'll tell you, let's go to stocks first, and then this is unbelievable. What Obama said about small businesses, like they're doing terrific. But let's do some stocks first.
Stock Corner is brought to you by the Phil's Gang video channel. Go to philsgang.com, click on the video channel graphic, and check out Phil's free videos on the market, economy, and current events.
And don't forget Walter's Way, terrific book. I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit, but Walter's Way, just go to my site, philsgang.com, go to the home page, and you can sign up for the book right there. Okay, it's graphic, just click on, great book, great information, wonderful man, iconic entrepreneur, what fascinating stories. We'll talk a little bit about this later, but please don't forget Walter's Way, okay? All right, now, let's talk about the market. The market, right now, they're telling us, you heard what they said, oh, gee, we got this big rally going as investors recognize that things are better. No, this is not a rally. This is what we call a dead cat bounce. This is a short covering rally. Now, we've done well with the short covering rally. We did fine with the short covering rally. Okay, we did fine, especially when the dollar's been dropping. As soon as let me tell you, the dollar drops as soon as people feel the economy's getting worse, and that's when you got to get into metals. And if you take the metals that we got into, and you take GDX, we're up now 40%, and AU, we're up over 100%. Now, I'm not suggesting every gang member made 40% on GDX and 100% on AU, but they did well, depending on where they got in. The key was they subscribed to our site, and when they subscribed to my site, by getting all the services, they knew exactly when to buy GDX. They didn't miss it. When the institutions started to buy, they knew exactly when the institutions were buying. I identified when the institutions were buying. So if they wanted to get in then or get in later, they had an opportunity in GDX of a 40% gain. How much they wanted to take of that gain is up to them when they wanted to get in. But the key is I identified for them, here's the time to buy it. What do we hear on CNBC on Friday? They start talking about gold a little too late. Same thing with copper. Copper up over 30%, almost 40% on copper. Copper. Nobody wanted copper. But we identified on our chart it was time to buy copper. It was in February 4th, and now it's up 39%. So if you subscribe to my site, you're subscribing to a lot of different programs. But the one program that you should focus on, if you're busy, if you're really busy, you don't have time to do things, but you're discouraged, you know your retirement, you don't have much retirement, you haven't built up your retirement, your 401k is going to get killed. So I want to try this. Then when you join the gang, one of the many services we have is our working investor group. Now, if you're gang members already, you don't call. You already are part of that group. This is where every day at 1:15, you have a personal coach that tells you, okay, here are a basket of stocks, the 500 stocks, the S&P. They're called the spiders. You're told, and we identify for you when to get in, when to get out, when to add. What a wonderful program. You don't have to do a thing. Don't do anything. Try it. And now, along with that, we caught our golds already. So that train's gone. But now we're getting on the train for the refiners. How many times did I tell you, join the gang, join the gang. I'm going to start with the refiners. I'm going to start with the refiners. Already, we're up in the refiners. I think one refiner, MRO, we're up 40%. TSO, we're up 11%. MPC, we're up 9%. It's still not too late. So subscribe. And at that 1:15 update, it's called The Working Investors, designed for people who work all day long, who are busy, don't want to learn anything, they just want to buy it, have everybody else do the work for them. Well, that's what we do at 1:15. But you got so many more services in the morning, right before the market opens. You get in, it's before 8 o'clock in the morning, usually between 7:30 and 8. I do a whole coffee talk, explain what's going on in the world. What I try to do is undo the mess they give you, undo the lies they give you on CNBC early in the morning. I try to set it straight for you. And then the beautiful thing about our program, it's live between 9:30, bell opens, and we're open. And all my subscribers can see me on site, online, and then we start with our stocks. And then we say, okay, let's take our refiner stocks. Okay, here's where we're going to buy MRO today. Here's why we're buying it. I mean, there's no better service, and nobody offers the amount of services for $49.95. Are you kidding? So subscribe, especially if you're busy and you're working and you just don't have the time. The Working Investor Program is beautiful, and everything is archived for you. 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-GANG. You can call now, and Steve will take your call. Denise will take your call. They're not in the Philippines or somewhere we can't understand them. They're right here in the U.S. of A., right across the hall. Okay, listen to this. This is what really gets me grumpy.
Wall Street reform, Dodd-Frank, the laws we passed have worked. I want to emphasize this because it is popular in the media, in political discourse, both on the left and the right, to suggest that the crisis happened and nothing changed. The second thing that I want to correct for the record is the notion that somehow this would hurt business and the economy. In fact, the opposite.
Oh, really? The opposite? Let me tell you the truth. This is the guy who lied to you about you could keep your insurance, you could keep your doctor. This guy lied to you about everything. So why are we going to be so lucky to believe him now? For him to say that, he's a total liar. He's talking about it hurt. The rumors that hurt businesses. It didn't hurt business. He said it's the opposite. Really? Really? It didn't hurt? What a liar. Small businesses. Dodd-Frank. Its complex web of millions of regulations were designed to favor the large financial firms and put the little ones out of business. That's right. When they designed the Dodd-Frank, they got together with the big boys who said to Dodd and Frank, the two crooks, the two thieves who received more kickbacks. Dodd received, he holds the record for receiving more bribes than any other congressman that had been in Washington. So they get together, all the big boys, the financial firms, say, look, we don't want any competition. We want you to design the requirements that be so costly that we can absorb the cost, but small banks, small credit rating agency can't. Talk more about that in stocks when we get back. Subscribe to my site, philsgang.com. You love Working Investors. You really will.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, my name is Phil.
Are you ready to make profits in the stock market? Why not check out philsgang.com or give us a call, 877-600-4264. Now, here's Phil.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. Remember, subscribe, go to my site, philsgang.com, or go to 877-600-GANG. Make a phone call right now and subscribe to my site. And when you get started, start out first with the Working Investor Program. So easy. It's designed for people that don't want to do anything. They just want to make money. It's that simple. That simple. It's that simple. It's the S&P 500 basket of the best stocks in the world in one basket for you. It's called the Spiders. You'll love it. And then once you feel you got that down and it feels good, then we'll start you with the refiners, just like we did with the gold. You'll love it. And the refiners, I believe, is going to be where the next money is going to be, just like we did with the gold. Now, the refiners, MRO, TSO, Valera, we're watching those every day for you. Every day. We're not going to miss them, just like we didn't miss the gold. So please, sign up. Now, here's the other thing with the Spiders. When the Spiders, I identified when the Spiders were ready to correct, when the stock market was ready to correct the S&P, and I told you that back in May, and then in July I confirmed it. And then the Spiders went down 14%. So my subscribers were able to make a 14% return, or less, depending where they got in. But the important thing is I was able to tell them, we'll show them on the chart, here's where it's going to drop, here's where it's going to break, here's why it's going to go down, let's sell it short. Then it turned around, and we were able to buy it on the way back up. We saw exactly where we had our buy signal, where we had what we call a crossover over our red and white dotted line. It's a buy signal. And now the Spiders are up 8%. So 14% down, 8% up, basket of 500 stocks. That's the best, one of the best programs I think we have. Check it out. So you would have caught it both ways. That's all you would have needed to do with the Spiders. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else. You know, here's what gets me. They went after, you know why they're going after Trump? They went after him again with the stupid university thing again. And I don't have time to talk about it today. I'll talk about it tomorrow. But that whole thing's a farce. But see, Trump recognizes the problem with our economy. He hasn't got to go pay off some congressman. He recognizes the problem. He recognizes what people need. We need people to start making money so they can start spending. That's called demand. We need investment. You got to have savings. He understands we don't save anymore because that's done on purpose. Why do you think they drop rates to zero so nobody will save anymore? Because if you don't save, the companies don't go borrow for investment. If you don't have investment growth, you don't have an economy growth, and that's why Reagan and Clinton economy grew 4% and we're growing 1.9%. See, Trump knows we got to lower the capital gains tax, the dividend taxes. We got to lower those. See, Obama held back business expansion by raising the capital gains taxes and the dividend taxes. Because guys like Romney, that's what he wanted to do. Because the worse you make the economy, then it's better for the elitists. They front load the market. See, when the economy is terrible and people don't have jobs and they don't go spend and stock prices don't go up, there's no earnings, so stock price can't go up. They have to artificially push the stock market up. They love it. Those are called bubbles. We had the dot-com bubble. We had the housing bubble. Now we got the QE bubble. And there'll be another one. And that's how guys like Romney get very, very wealthy. By keep making sure we don't do well. Main Street doesn't do well. And then you can artificially push the market up 22% using all kinds of lies. Oh, we're going to do QE because we're going to create jobs. No, it's not. Just like Obama lies to us and he said, oh, Dodd-Frank was really a good thing. Really? It hurt small retail investors. It was there to protect the wealthiest investors, Dodd-Frank. Are you kidding? Dodd-Frank gave the Securities and Exchange Commission a whole new set of responsibilities that distract it from its core mission. They gave all these new rules. The cost was incredible. on non-financial companies. And these non-financial companies would have to pass it on to investors and consumers. And why'd they do that? Just like the small businesses, with all the regulations, the big business said, let's pile on regulations. We can afford the lawyers. We can afford all the lawyers. We can absorb all the costs. So let's make sure the new regulations will be disproportionately costly for the small banks and the small credit rating agency. That's why they'll go down and we'll go up. The bigger the banks, the big banks will get bigger. And that's what they did. And you notice all the small banks, all the community banks went out. They're going out of business. That's because of Dodd-Frank. So now the big banks are getting bigger. The 5 biggest banks are getting bigger while the small community banks are going out. That was a plan. And how did they do that? By putting in new requirements that were so costly to track. You can't do it. A small businessman can't afford all these accountants and lawyers. All that whole thing was all to take care of the elitist group. That Consumer Protection Act? Are you nuts? That whole regulatory program they put in? They didn't help the consumers. It wasn't meant to help the consumer. It meant to screw the consumer. It meant to raise the prices on the consumers. Are you kidding? Prices went up on products and services. Are you kidding? Again, hurting Main Street. The more you can hurt Main Street, the wealthier the 1 percentile get, because they get special treatment in the market. People don't believe it. And that's why you want to be a member, because I don't care how bad the economy's getting, they're always going to make sure the 1%, the 1 percentile, they control it. They control it all. They control they own the baseball park. They own the baseballs. They own the bats. They own the popcorn, the hot dogs. They own the players. That's what they do. They own everything. They control it all. And they get richer as long as Main Street gets poor. And guess who understands that? Trump. And that's why they hate Trump, and they're going after Trump, because they want to make sure he doesn't get the nomination. Because if Trump gets the nomination, he's going to go and blow up the system that has made you, where you have to work 2-3 jobs, where you now are working 2 or 3 part-time jobs. You shouldn't be working 2 or 3 part-time jobs, but it was designed that way so that Romney can get even wealthier, Soros can get wealthier, Buffett can get wealthier, the 1 percentile get wealthier off of your back. So the worse you get, the worse you and your family do, the richer they get. That's how the system works. Who ever thought by bringing who would think you'd say, okay, we're going to bring interest rates down, savings rates down to nothing. That's going to help the economy. But you had the best liar in the world to come out and sell it. Nobody can speak like Obama, where he sold everybody on, oh, well, if we bring interest rates and savings down to 0, you're going to get a great job. I would love to ask him, how do I get a great job? If we don't have savings, nobody borrows to invest. Companies don't borrow to buy machinery or plants or computers, so people don't get to work to build the machineries and the computers. So who gets to work here, Mr. Obama? I don't get your rationale. So here's what you do. No matter what these guys do, and it's always for the 1 percentile. We'll be fine. The market's down now 124 points. I don't care if the market goes down or the market goes up. I told you with the spiders. When the market went down, I told you in May of 2015, I said, it's starting, it's going down. It went down 14%. Now it's on its way back up. We'll catch the 6%. It's up 8%. And we'll catch it when it goes back down. Look, Walter's Way. I've told you before, this is one of the best books. In every book you buy, the proceeds goes to the Walter Scheer Family Foundation, and it goes to St. Jude. It's split. Go to my site, philsgang.com, or just order the book, waltersway.org. An award-winning memoir about a 92-year-old man, a good friend of mine. He's an iconic entrepreneur. The stories are incredible. His relationship with Cover, his relationship with MacArthur. He worked for these guys. I mean, what he accomplished, he was a founding board member of 5 multinational companies. The fax machine. That's his deal. That's his company. Even Trump is humble. by Walter's Way. Check it out. All right. Join my gang. Subscribe now. philsgang.com. 877-600-GANG.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grande, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's up to me.